The COYGIG Pod on OTB Sports, in association with Cadbury. A player and a half deserves a glass and a half of support.
Top pocket goal!
It's what dreams are made of.
They are going to the World Cup Finals!
Hello and welcome to the COYGIG podcast. I am Kathleen McNamee and I am joined by former Ireland internationals Karen, Duggan and Emma Byrne. The WSL and myself included took a bit of a break last week, but you guys did a very good episode in my absence. Although there was some comment made about me not being happy on the podcast. And I was like, in fairness, after Arsenal's results this weekend, you might not be far wrong. But we are back on our regular programming schedule this week. Emma Carroll will be joining us later to give her team of the week, and then we will have analysis of all the weekend's WSL fixtures where there was some pretty big results in the context of both the title race and the battle against relegation. But glad to know that you guys got on okay in my absence. There wasn't too much of a
just about held it together, didn't kill each other. So we're glad you're back to mediate though this week.
Yeah, we missed you.
I like that that's just become my role as just like a general mediator in the whole situation. It makes me feel like that law degree that I've not.
We got used to it. Yeah, we got used to the mediation process in 2017. And
yeah, I was just going to say we could have done with you a few years ago.
We mightn't have been kept in that hotel room till 2:00 in the morning. But you're a lot more efficient, Kathleen.
Thank you, very kind. And how have you guys been enjoying your bank holiday weekend out in the town?
No. Surprisingly fresh coming to you this Monday, so make the most of it while you can. It'll be rare.
Yeah, no bank holiday.
How's yours been?
No bank holiday in Barcelona, so working away today. Yeah, still working.
Classic you being very busy when the rest of us are enjoying our weekends. You're generally running around doing commentary, you're going to games and providing your expert analysis while we're just sitting back on the couch watching them.
Yeah, well, there will be a day where I'll be able to send you lot a picture of a cocktail and whatever else, pint of Guinness. That will be happening soon.
Mm-hmm. It is quite a satisfying feeling. I understand why Karen always does it.
I'm just going to send you pictures of the sun like every day when I'm here. And then picture the Colosseum in a couple of weeks. Don't worry, I will get you back.
No, the pizza and pasta would send me over the edge now. Keep them to yourself.
So yeah, that Rome news is very exciting for you, Emma. Are you excited to explore a new city?
Not really, to be honest. We did all our traveling back in the day, and I'm kind of a little bit tired of traveling. But I'm looking forward to, something new, I guess. I've been here before. I've been here like 6 times already since I retired from football, so I'm kind of used to it. I'm a bit of a traveler. That the Littlest Hobo song just comes into my head every time I think about moving again. But this is base. Barcelona's base for me, so I'm extremely happy at the moment. But in 2 weeks' time, I'll be getting a cruise, would you believe it?
And the drinks package that comes with the cruise?
Of course, all inclusive. I'll probably end up in like Cyprus or something, or back in Ayia Napa where we celebrated about 10 years ago.
Cyprus Cup, not remembered for its football.
I mean, who puts us Collinis in Ayia Napa for a football tournament? I mean, big mistake. Huge.
I do enjoy the fact as well that the current Irish squad keep ending up in Marbella for their training camps or for any of their games. I'm like, does Vera Pauw just have a little penchant for a few cocktails in the sun, bit of a boogie, enjoying herself?
We'll ask her next time she's on.
Yeah. I can already imagine the answer would just be like a steely gaze of why are you asking me this? And I know you've done commentary before, haven't you, for Serie A, for out of football and stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I do it with ATA. They cover all the leagues, so a bit of Bundesliga, Italian league, Spanish league, obviously, and the French league. So yeah, I kind of know. I know my way around a little bit. So it was funny because my first game for the Italian league was actually Roma. So I was like, they're brilliant. Technically brilliant. They do need a midfielder in there just to control.
Plant the seed.
Agent Emma back out in force once again. I would love if you just in all your commentary, like you were just constantly dropping hints as to like I think this is what this team needs, a bit of Katie McCabe in there.
I'll tell you what, it would be a great advantage for any players out there. If they need me to represent them, I'll like put your name in the mix wherever I'm commentating.
Yeah, what
no
do you say,
problem.
10%, is that all?
20%. 20%.
Never undersell yourself.
I think Emma is going to definitely not undersell herself. We all know how much she is worth. Emma, as well, what have you thought about the George Vilda has come out again, not named the 15 players in the squad. Jenny Hermoso has returned.
Oh, this was a big one for me because I know they're not they're not near to coming to an agreement. I do know they're talking at the moment, so that's a good thing. I find it hard to defend the girls, to be honest, because I still don't really know what they want. Even speaking, I haven't got that answer yet. So it's hard. But I have to say there was a group of girls that decided to do it together. And I believe Jenny was one of those girls. So this for me was a big shock. That was a big shock for me. I know if she was still at Barca, obviously it might be different, but still. I mean, it's all about unity and it's all about sticking together. And it doesn't really matter what happens from here on in. I do believe that some of those girls will come back to the national team, like the big players. I believe a lot of them won't. But even when they do, like, are they going to be okay with each other? Like the players that are there, a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of stuff has been said. You can see the rivalry already. It's like tripled. When Real Madrid play Barca, you can see it's very, very feisty. So even if they do come to an agreement, whatever it is they're looking for, will the whole team be okay with each other? I can't really see it happening.
As I say, it's so much down the lines of club ties as well, and that rivalry was already becoming better and better with how much Real Madrid were kind of progressing and bringing the team on, and now you're adding all this into the mix, and if there are loyalties being thrown aside, it doesn't bode well, especially going into the World Cup in a couple of months.
I mean, the people in Spain's group they're the biggest winners here, because we were dying to not get Spain. Let's be honest, they were the one team I really didn't want us to get. But now
you wouldn't mind them. You wouldn't mind them. They're all fighting at home. No, but when you think about it though, they've only got one more camp left before the World Cup. So are they going to get to that point where they're going to go back? And if they do, are they going to get there before the next camp? I don't think so. So it means bringing those players in without having been to a camp. And that means Jorge Vilda has to drop players that have been loyal to him. And I think he's that kind of man that is kind of like saying, I'm going to be loyal to my players. And that was a big thing for him. Plus his comments, ridiculous comments in the media saying, we're not going to bring the best players, but we'll bring the players that have something, that have, different qualities. No, if you want to win the World Cup, you bring your best players. And this for me is a reason as well where I think the federation should have a look at the position there. He's saying he's going to bring players that aren't the best. So if they don't, are they going to win the World Cup? Probably not with these players. Why do you not want to win the World Cup? It doesn't
especially
really
with the talent that they have right now. Like, only for the injuries, I think they would possibly have gotten to the Euros final and won it. But the crop of players they have now are phenomenal. And for it to go to waste, it's just such a pity. And I think you're right. I think the federation should have stepped in a long time ago on this.
Yeah, but what I think is the biggest pity of all is the players that have stuck together. I think what's going to happen is the Alexia Putellas, the Aitana Bonmati, the Patrick Guijarro, they'll go back. But the other 10 players that are, not exceptional, they probably won't get called up. And if they do, it'll be a little bit like, we're going to filter them out. They did this. They created this problem. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Created this problem. And eventually, whether it's over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they won't be called back. And I think that's a real shame for them.
It definitely is. And it's a shame as well for anyone who wanted to watch that Spanish team and that generation of players play together, because on paper, it's one of the most exciting teams out there at the moment. But as you guys say, it's no longer a team that you're actually afraid to go up against, or one that you'd be dying to go watch because of the players that they're missing, or even just the positions Vilda plays them in a lot of the time. It's just very, I don't know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the COYGIG podcast on OTB Sport is sponsored by Cadbury FC, official snack partner to the Republic of Ireland women's national team. Coming up next, we have our team of the week with Emma Carroll. Now we are back with Emma Carroll, who has a team of the week, and while there were quite a lot of games, at least we actually had games this week, or there wasn't any cancellations or rogue things happening, Emma, to make life even harder for you. How did you find the process of doing your team this weekend?
Not too bad, to be honest. Got on okay.
You're leaving yourself wide open for.
I know, yeah. Oops. Yeah, a couple of kind of results that we weren't really expecting, probably, which kind of had an impact on the team of the week from the usuals in there. So I'll start off in goal. I probably actually had a toss up of 3 goalkeepers, but I went with Courtney Brosnan. I don't know why. Nothing got to do with Irish. Nothing got to do with Irish bias or anything there. Jess Carter, Gabby George, Sissoko, and Mailing at the back. In midfield, 3 of Manham, Holland, and Angadal, and then up front, Hemp, Shaw, and James.
Okay. Okay.
Emma, you're making, I don't know if it's a totally agreement face or if it's like I kind of agree, but also I'm going to attack one certain position.
No, I like the fact you put Brosnan in there, because I was very happy to see her playing well. However,
playing.
I was getting worried.
Yeah.
I was getting worried. She needed a performance like that.
Yeah, she seems to thrive off being on the bench, not getting minutes. Like, put her on the bench, I say, and bring her on. No, she did really, really well. Like, she was quality. She's, they're all talking about her. Everton are loving her. She's all over their feed. But I have to say, I would have picked Mackenzie Arnold, just because of how busy she was and the amount she did and the saves she made. Brosnan did very well, but I don't think she was as effective as Mackenzie Arnold. I would have put her in because I thought she was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, she was one of the 3, and so was the Leicester goalkeeper Leipzig. I thought she was really good and really positive for Leicester as well.
Yeah,
she was a goalkeeper as well.
Looking at the stats in that Leicester game, she was.
They lost.
Keep it to 2.
Yeah, that's why she didn't get in there.
They lost. Who cares? Who cares? They lost. I thought George was brilliant. I really, she's improving all the time. She looks so good. Sissoko, as you know, is one of my favorites. I love
Sissoko.
I love watching her play. She's quality. I wouldn't have put Holland in there. I would have put Nagano for Liverpool. I thought she was excellent. She's a real player for them. She's going to make a big difference for them.
I thought Bjorn for Everton as well in the back line.
That was my next one. Yeah, Bjorn I probably would have put in there, maybe instead of Carter, and pushed George out to the left, and I would have put Bjorn in there. She was brilliant. I think Everton were quality. They're really improving as well. I think everybody's improving. Apart from our little friends Reading, unfortunately.
No.
But Angadal, really good to see her play. Again, a player that's been on the bench for way too long. She's a quality player. I think she'll probably keep her place in that City team. But who knows with City? They change all the time. Manham, for me, is going to be one of the best in the world very, very soon. Absolutely brilliant. And of course, James, she's on another level. In fact,
so easy for her. The only other person I possibly would have put in, because it's important that she got on the team sheet, was Chloe, or on the score sheet was Chloe Kelly. Because it's been kind of a while coming that we've seen her kick into life for Man City, so possibly would have found a little spot for her.
Yeah, her link-up play with Angadal as well was really good.
Yeah,
lovely bits down the right hand side as well.
And Bunny doing what Bunny does.
Yeah,
I suppose
consistency.
Absolutely.
I thought Fran Kirby was really good as well when she came on. If she had played the full game or started, then she probably would have made somewhere in the team as well, because she looked so lively when she came on as well. Her touch, and she could have scored a cracker and it just hit the post.
Yeah, I thought the whole midfield for Liverpool, because it was kind of an area maybe had criticised before, they kind of leaving themselves open and losing the ball in dangerous areas. I thought they were pretty good. Vista kind of right wing back.
Campbell's throw-ins as well, causing
Throw-ins,
havoc
started
for
that
the
back
second
three.
goal as well.
Even a clean sheet for them was just huge.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the increase in midfield is because they've brought in someone like Duggan? Like, she just came in 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? She's relatively new.
She's just
so
good. She just looked good in possession. You know, just not rushed and not panicked in possession, which was like, I don't know what you thought about them letting Furness go. Obviously she wanted more game time, but again, she's someone who was good on the ball, but they obviously have seen something in Nagano that she'll fill that void.
Yeah, I mean, I really
Yeah,
like
especially
Furness, but she just can't get around the pitch like she did
Athleticism,
before.
yeah.
And they needed that kind of dynamic player in there. And I just think she's got everything. She's quick, she's aggressive, she moves the ball really quickly and nicely for Liverpool. As I said, she keeps possession. And yeah, she's a little bit feisty as well, which I'm really looking forward to seeing Japan play actually in the World Cup, because they've got a few players that are coming into light. Yeah, but Liverpool look good. They look good. I think they don't have to really worry about the relegation zone anymore, which is a massive thing for them.
Do you think anyone does for Leicester?
I think Reading.
Reading.
I think Reading are in really big trouble. Yeah. Because
Like if
Leicester are getting better as well. I know they've got a few points to catch up on, but they are improving, and I reckon they might nick a few points here and there.
Well, I definitely think they can beat Reading. They'll be aiming for that one. And yeah, like you say, just nick a few draws, and that's all it really takes. It's that tight at the bottom.
Yeah, because I think they have 2 games in hand over Reading at the moment, and they're only 5 points behind, 4 or 5 points. So it's pretty close. And then every other team above has played the same amount of games or else has a game in hand. So yeah,
they're 4 points behind, and they've got 2 games in hand. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for them, but they need to be beating the Readings and the Brightons around them, which will be difficult for them. But yeah, they've got Reading in April, and they've got United, they've got Everton. It's a difficult run for them. But I still think they'll nick a few points here and there.
It is good that there is like a little bit of a competition to it, because it did look like for a while that it was just totally obvious that Leicester was going down, and no one else was going to get even close. Not that you want to see teams be like totally fighting it, but
you do.
You do, yeah.
You want a bit of competition down there. You want to keep it interesting. No loyalty.
Yeah, you don't just want like one team getting 1 point for a season and then gone, and you know straight off that it's a write-off at the start of the season.
No.
Yeah, but it is the first time that in the league that I've seen a team be promoted and look like they belong there. It's a very long time since I've seen that. Like Liverpool now look like a team that can stay and that can be competitive. And I think Leicester will be a very good team in a couple of weeks when all those new signings bond as well. Like, for example, if they went down, they'd absolutely kill the league below. Like, and it's the first time in I think I've ever said that. So it's good, it's positive.
Well, Liverpool in particular, I think, have recruited really smartly. Like, Matt Beard knows what he wants from players and knows what he wants from the team, and I think that's one of the reasons why they have been so competitive.
And I think if they can survive this year, just the name alone will attract talent. So yeah, I think just surviving this year should be just the main aim, and then see what they can do from there, because it could be really exciting for them.
Definitely. Well, Emma, thank you very much for another excellent Team of the Week. To say this weekend was defining for the title probably isn't an underestimation by any shape or form. United held at Everton, Arsenal also dropping points, Chelsea not looking that impressive, but once again managing to get themselves off the tracks and get the points. Karen, you're shaking your head the minute I mentioned United, so we might as well start there and get your pain over with early.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting ahead of myself with United because they had the good result against Arsenal that time, and I was like, finally they've broken it. But in the back of your head, you're always waiting for that slip up. This was it. 25 shots and only getting 4 on target. There's not really much excuse for it. I mean, they should have converted a lot of the chances that they did. Can you look at, was Russo's head turned or anything like that? But really, I don't know. I think it was just, they didn't play particularly poorly. I think Everton did quite well. I think they were very resolute and had their tactics down to a T, but just really disappointing when you have almost 70% possession and you take that many shots. It shows that you're peppering the goal, which is not clinical enough. Similar problem to what Arsenal had this week, just lacked the cutting edge. Like, I thought Ella Toon and stuff played really, really well, but they just couldn't break it down. Obviously brilliant for Courtney, but I would have preferred if she'd pulled out that performance against someone else.
Well, this is why I think Mackenzie Arnold should have been in there instead of Brosnan, because Everton were excellent. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. They were so well organized. They defended really, really good. And then Brosnan was there for the couple of times that she needed to be there. But West Ham were getting absolutely hammered. Like, Arsenal, they won't sleep for a week after that, because they could have and should have scored about 5-6 goals, to be honest. But Arnold was quality, and she made some really quality saves. Like, they just could not score. And they tried. They had some really decent shots and chances. But with United, I mean, that's the difference between them and a Chelsea, because, to be honest, I don't see much of a difference between those two teams. I think United are as good, but they don't have those dirty wins, in them. And you could see, I'm watching the big players that you're expecting, like the likes of Galton, Russo, even like players that have popped up and scored before, Hayley Ladd. They just didn't have that, that knowledge of how to win, like when to shoot, when to pass. They were passing when they should be shooting, and vice versa. It was like,
when
what
they
are you
those
doing?
chances, say when Garcia missed that chance, it was always like it played on them too much, instead of just seeing it, okay, I'll get the next one. It was like, oh crap, that was our chance. I think if they don't get that early lead, they do let the nerves creep in a little bit.
Yeah, it just seems like they don't have that player to like calm things down, like a Rachel Williams, for example, who should have came on a bit earlier, I thought, who has that instinct on how to score a goal. And I have to give Brosnan credit for that Lucia Garcia miss.
Yeah,
because she came down, she closed it really, really well. So it was really difficult for Garcia to score. So that was kudos to the keeper. But in general, I just thought, United, this is your chance. And they did it last year. I'm not sure they have that team, that killer instinct. This is our chance to go like top of the table. This is our chance to really like be up there for Champions League places. Because if you look at it now, I text some of the United players, like, I don't mean to put the heebie-jeebies in them, but I'm like, you're ruining it. You're ruining it for yourselves. You have to like get Champions League. You do realize that City are literally like level with you now. Yes, Man City are on 26 points, and they're on 29 points. Okay, they're just 3 points behind them, but this is who they need to compete against realistically. Chelsea and Arsenal are going to be up there. They're going to go through, whether in what position, I don't know, but they're going to make Champions League. United are fighting against City. That's it. That's who they need to focus on. And dropping points is just giving City that confidence, because if United won just mentally for City, I think they'd mess up somewhere along the line, because United aren't messing up. But now they've dropped those points, it just pushes City on a little bit more.
It feels like this is the season that Man United have to do it because of player retention. I mean, bigger teams, like the traditionally bigger teams, are looking at these United players now, and they're looking to take
100%. I mean,
lose the likes of Battier, let's be realistic, and Russo potentially. So
you will definitely go.
Yeah, unless you have Champions League football, you're not going to be able to replace players that are that influential in this team.
Yeah, these girls are questioning now. Will they go? Will they stay? If you make Champions League, will you stay? I don't know. I have to think about it. This is what's happening. If they don't make Champions League, they're not even thinking about it. They're gone. So it's a massive, massive few games United have ahead of them.
Just looking at the fixtures list here, and interestingly enough, second last game of the season, United City, Manchester derby. Building up
well,
for
it could
a
be
very interesting end to the whole thing.
Well, it was like United, Chelsea last year. Chelsea going for the league, United going for the Champions League spot, and they weren't able. They couldn't. Bit nervous about that.
And then when you say there about the killer instinct and United lacking it, do you think that comes from the players that are there and not having enough maybe experience in the side, or just someone who is that sort of player that feeds off a killer instinct, or does that come from management? So like Mark Skinner down into the squad.
I mean, a little bit of both, really. Mark is set up as he has set up, so it can't really be him. It's, when the players on the pitch have to have a look at who they're playing and find that the weakness there. And when you've got Leah Galton coming in and making it very, compact in the middle, is exactly what Everton want. They want to keep the players inside so they can easily pick them up. And well, it can come from the manager as well. I'd be like asking Galton to stay wide. Blundell wasn't getting forward enough, so they didn't have that width. And it just meant it was easy for Everton just to stay compact and to mark those players. And also, like, when you've got, Hayley Ladd having shots and it's not on target and things like that, when you have to score those opportunities, it doesn't help either. So yes, you need those players with killer instinct. That's going to at least make the goalkeeper work. But for me, they needed more width. They needed to move the ball quicker. And then the decision making in the final third was poor. And that is nerves. That is that, it's on their mind that they need to score. So again, I probably would have brought Rachel Williams on a little bit earlier, but I would have brought her on more central in this case. And I would have, asked players to get forward and provide that width and get more balls in the box for her, because she's excellent. She's excellent in the box.
And then another team who we've already mentioned, but definitely lacked the killer instinct, was Arsenal. A 0-0 draw, as you guys have already pointed out. It was such a frustrating watch. Like, there were points where I just kind of wanted to get up and walk out of the room, because I was like, this is just going to be like this for the whole game. It didn't feel like it was going to change at any stage for them. I thought Eidevall's comments after the game were a bit strange as well, when he was asked, do you need a score, like more scorers? And he was like very adamant that they didn't have a problem scoring goals. But then he was also like, we have failed to get a player on board for the second transfer window in a row.
It doesn't make sense. He
looked
saying the last few
weeks after the game. He looked nearly upset.
Of course he was upset. He knew he messed up with Katie.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, who's going to start the Katie McCabe rant? Is it going to be me or you, Emma?
That was actually one of the first questions I was going to ask.
He knows he's messed up. He knew he messed up the minute the whistle went, because he went straight up to Katie, and I don't know what he said to her, but I was like, come on, like, you're going up there to her to basically say, I don't know if he said, I should have started you. I don't think he said that, but he should be saying that.
Have said that.
Because it was absolutely crying out for her to play, not left back. I'm not talking about playing left back. I'm talking about playing instead of Hurtig. Yeah. Hurtig, for me, hasn't really shown that she deserves a spot in that first 11. Katie has.
I mean, she's tidy. She's a good player, but when the chips are down and you need aggression and you need someone who can take the game by the scruff of the neck, I don't think she has that. Where Katie will put in a tackle, she'll do something to rally around them. And in the final third, I just thought they became...
She'll put in these balls that are absolutely on a plate. I guarantee you, if you asked any of the players...
Blackstenius needs her fizzing those balls across, getting in those positions to do that.
Yeah, if you ask them, if they didn't say they love playing with Katie McCabe, there's something wrong with them, because she literally puts it on a plate. How many times did we see her deliver balls in there? And it's like this, is, you ask any manager in the league, if you look at Arsenal's team sheet and you see that Katie's on the bench, would you be happy? Obviously, yes, you'd be happy. And I don't really understand why she's not starting. I said it after the Chelsea game. Well, she'll start every game from now on, because it was obvious that they missed her. And Emma Hayes was very happy she wasn't playing. So I thought she has to start from now on. I mean,
even if he wants to play Hurtig, put Leah Williamson back centre back and play her in the midfield three. Get her on the pitch.
No.
Get her on the pitch.
Why does he have to play her? This is
he doesn't, like, he obviously has taken a notion to do it, but fit her in.
Huge games now, huge. You can't afford to drop any points. You can't afford to have any passengers. You can't afford to play players because maybe, I don't know, you've promised them game time or whatever. You have to play your best team. And before
bad management as well, if you've promised players time and you're putting them on to make
all the time
okay.
Though. It happens all the time. Players go to the manager to have that conversation, and in one way or another they're promised, yes, you'll get more minutes, and it happens. But at the end of the day, not with some managers will just say, well, no, you're not good enough to get in my first 11, and that's it.
You should never promise game time. You earn your game time.
No, it's just crazy. Before Christmas, I would have been adamant that nobody's going to beat Arsenal in the league. They're the best team in the league, and they have a very good chance of winning Champions League. But that they have to play the best team. They have to play the best team, and he's not doing it.
So are you saying straight swap for Hurtig?
Yeah, absolutely. Put Katie up there. It's a perfect position for her. And also, Weinreuter in the back. She was playing brilliant right back. I don't know why that was changed either. It's just a bit, for me, a little bit baffling.
I mean, you sound genuinely upset about this.
Well, I don't understand. Up next.
I mean, I suppose we give some credit to West Ham. They defended really well. I'm still baffled that
really well.
Evans is still on the bench, but anyway, that's another story. But I mean, Fisk, Sissoko, they're all very good.
Yeah, I mean, they defended really well. They were well organised.
But Arsenal still had 9 shots on target.
Exactly. They could have broken them down again. They could have done it. Just a little bit more care in the box. More crosses into the box. And then winning those second balls. I mean, they should have won. They could have won. Just let Katie play. They would have won.
This is the COYGIG official plea to Edeval to listen to us and let Katie play. Tottenham 2, Chelsea 3. Kind of intriguing match. I was reading the piece from Jonathan Liu in The Guardian, and he was kind of putting the question to the audience of like, how does a team like Spurs look at this match? Do they look at it and think, that was a defeat that we can be proud of? It's a game that you look at and be like, we left something on the table there. Does it show that Spurs are maybe slowly starting to get to a place where they can actually put a bit of a challenge up to top teams like Chelsea?
And not to put it up to Chelsea, but it's definitely an improvement on where they were pre-January signings. I saw a better press from them, which was a big feature of their game last year, not letting the opposition have as much time as they did. They still have little bits of it in their game, particularly for the first goal, the cross that came in. There was 2 players not closed down, and Carter got a free header after 8 minutes. You don't want to be conceding that early to Chelsea. You want to try and frustrate them a bit longer. James's goal, while it was brilliant, someone's got to hack her down, surely.
There was literally no defense.
They probably have the ingredients. They need to get the bite back into them a little bit.
But everyone just stood off her.
Like, having the focal point
up to her.
I do think having the focal point of England is helpful for them in attack. And I saw glimpses that they are definitely improving. The fact that they stayed in the game and they continue to attack in the 88th minute was positive signs. Chelsea just know how to win games.
Yeah, I
mean, and they have more quality than
they
Spurs.
have the quality, don't they? They've match winners. They have match winners. But definitely improvements from Spurs. Mm-hmm. Again, I just don't understand why Neville isn't playing right back. Why she's not back there. She was going to be in the England squad if she continued doing what she was doing. And the change from the manager has taken that away from her, and I don't understand why. And if I were her,
see you later in the summer,
I'd be like, if you're not going to play me right back, like, I'm off. Like, I want to play right back. That's it. But anyway, I think Iwabuchi is a big signing for them. She's quality, really good player. Again, another Japanese player.
She had a bit of feistiness about her, to be fair.
She did.
Yeah.
Loving that.
Love that.
But I feel like she definitely has a bit of frustration to get out after her situation at Arsenal and how
she's too good of a player to have
Yeah.
been sitting on the bench for as long as she was.
Yeah.
And I'd say like finally getting back on the pitch and playing consistent football has probably given her a release that she hasn't had for a long time.
An animal now. She's like a caged animal being set free. Now she's quality. England's going to be quality for them. Likes to score against her old club as well. And Chelsea won because they have match winners. They have the experience. And if that had been Lauren James against Chelsea going across the box, there's no way Millie Bright would have left her do that. And it just needed that experienced player to just step in. And maybe it's coming from the goalkeeper, because I'm just thinking if I were in goal, I would have been screaming at my players. Sometimes you need that somebody just to say, go to the ball, because they're so intent and keeping their position at the back. You just need someone just to step out. Especially how it happened. Like, she was always going to go herself. Like, they didn't need to worry what's behind them. They didn't need
always going to go herself, always going to go left foot.
Yeah.
Find a way to put her on the other foot or take her down.
Just take her down.
Take her down earlier. Yeah.
Take her out of the game, take her down. But originally when Emma Hayes put Lauren James on the right, I was like, it's a bit of a waste having her out there. I would have had her central, like just, in there controlling that number 10 position. But she does it brilliant. She comes in brilliant. And I'm just wondering when other teams are going to cop onto that, like to stop her going in field.
It's kind of like, when Robin played for Bayern Munich, like, what he's going to do, but he just does it anyway. I'm like, surely someone's going to be able to figure this out. But yeah, she's got the pace and power to.
Very good. Very good.
What did you make of Emma Hayes' comments after the game? I don't really remember other times where she's praised a player and said she did well, but then also kind of put it with like little asterisks of, well, she needs to work on what she does off the ball before I say that she's amazing, because that needs improvement.
That's so typical of Emma Hayes when she has a young player. Like, she might not say that about Pernille Harder or someone like that, but when she has a young player that she believes can be the best, but she still has a lot of work to do, like getting fit and, yes, her defensive duties, she will never say that they're great players, never, because she wants to push them a little bit more. And as well with Lauren James as well, she's definitely a player that needs a manager to keep her grounded, 100%.
Well, considering all the hype that there has been around her, and I think Emma Hayes is probably one of the few that could actually control something like that. Leicester City 0, Man City 2, first WSL goal for Chloe Kelly, which I actually couldn't quite comprehend when I read that. I was like, surely there's been one more this season, but it is the first one. City now an unbeaten run of 10 league games. Up there, they could have been a lot more apart from Janina Leitzig, the Leicester's goalkeeper. Like, they definitely were in control, but I
think if Gareth Taylor can find his 11 that really work well together,
We've only been saying it for 2 seasons.
The second half of the season, Emma.
I know, it's like 2 years later.
I was just going to say,
11
conversation.
I mean, this is what you do in pre-season, right? And because they don't have a pre-season, a proper pre-season, it makes it very difficult. But anyway, it changes the whole time. It's impossible to be consistent when the team changes so much. And even when they're winning, they still change them. They still change them. I mean, Laura Coombs, for example, probably was one of their most consistent players. She was scoring really important goals.
Surprisingly, she was probably one of their biggest players at the start of the season. Pulled them out of a few games where they were struggling.
Yes, and she was getting her game over the likes of Angeldal, Vicky Losada, all those players, when they're probably they're better quality, being quite honest. But she was scoring goals, so probably one of the only players that consistently played. And now Angeldal's gone in there, who I really, really like and really rate. Playing for Sweden, she's quality. And I think she's going to stay. Well, I would keep her in there. I don't have a clue what this guy's going to do. And of course, Dana Castellanos, a really good player, but will she keep her position? I don't know, like, because I thought they were really, really good. They can be. They should be talking about winning the league. They should be talking about getting to the semi-finals, at least the Champions League. They should be talking about winning everything. Instead, they're talking about how they've been unbeaten. No. And you've got a couple of draws in there as well.
Even if they do, they're not really great at going on any sort of run in the Champions League. Like, I can't imagine that that's not on a lot of players' minds as well. Like, you're not getting consistent time. There's no consistent team. When you do get Champions League football, you're gone.
You can't afford to make mistakes in Champions League. You can't afford to give the ball away in Champions League. And it's what they do. It comes too early. If Champions League started in April, they'd be laughing. They'd be absolutely buzzing
for a change. Liverpool 2, Reading 0. As we said at the top of the show, things getting a bit more worrying for Reading at this stage. 4 points from safety, but Leicester do have 2 games in hand, and they do still have to play each other. Always great to see a goal coming from a Megan Campbell free throw. Excellently done. More of that, please, and thank you for the World Cup. And like we said, Fuga Nagano seems like a really, really smart signing. Gives Liverpool the sort of control that they've possibly been missing for a while, and seems to be linking up quite well with Sarri Holland, who's been on quite a run of form the last while.
Yeah, Reading's confidence is just in the bin, really, isn't it? That was a game that they should have earmarked to turn things around, and now they find themselves in a relegation scrap, and they're very much in a scrap now.
They are, and because, I mean, in fairness to them, they don't have any money to make those signings. So while they're struggling in December, and then they hear about all these signings from teams around them that they're fighting against, it must be very, very difficult for them. But I definitely think, going into that game, the fact that Liverpool had a few players injured, including our very own Niamh Fahey, and Van de Sanden, who's a massive player for them. I think going into the game, Reading might have thought they should win. Well, they probably did think that. It definitely get something out of it. But I actually think that Nagano changed the game. I think she completely controlled the game, and I think it was won in that midfield. I really do.
Yeah, because they had, like, Liverpool had that 5 at the back, so they made sure that they were solid. But at least with her, they could actually do something with the ball. When they did win it back, which I think they've been lacking a little bit. They kind of winning it back, but then they're straight back under pressure and maybe struggling in transition sometimes. So Liverpool will be hoping that she's kind of the turning point for them. More of the same.
They're doing good. They're in 8th position. They've played 11 games. Like, West Ham above them have played 2 more. Every team pretty much above them has played 1 or 2 more games. So there definitely is a bit of space for them to creep into the top half of the table if they go on a bit of a run of form now that they have a player like Nagano. And finally, then we had Aston Villa 1, Brighton 1. One of those games where the football wasn't really the talking point at the end. It was refereeing decisions. Carla Ward was very unhappy. Said it's every single manager, every single player, and every fan that want the refereeing standards to go up. At what point do we realise that professional football careers as managers, their futures sometimes are in hands of those that aren't professional, and that's not okay. So, pretty strong words from her. She had a point to be annoyed. There was a lot of offside calls that were mistakenly given, challenges going unpunished. It was like, is the referee watching the same match as the rest of us, or are they just off having a cup of tea and not paying attention to what's on the pitch? But also there is the other side that if we want the standards to improve, it's up to the FA and the WSL hierarchy to actually train people properly and give them these opportunities. Sadly, we are out of time for today's show, but we will be back next week with more analysis and action, and of course all the great chit chat that we love, the sarcastic comments, the infighting, all the good stuff. Emma and Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
next week.
The COYGIG Pod on OTB Sports, in association with Cadbury. A player and a half deserves a glass and a half of support.